All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Maddie here from PTCGO, and today we're going to take a look at the top 16 decks from the last Chill Series tournament, Chill Series number 48. Great tournament. We had 400 players come out to play, and this format is absolutely terrific, right? There's so many awesome decks. It's just super entertaining to watch all the games and all the matchups. So, you know, this is going to be a good one today. We haven't posted a lot of videos recently on the channel. Since post-rotation, a lot of stuff has kind of gone on. The one thing I want to mention, though, is here on the Limitless page that we're taking a look at here, the standings page, a lot of this is actually pretty inaccurate. We ended up having a couple players choose the result of their match incorrectly in top 8 in top cut, so things are just kind of all over the place, and on Limitless it isn't exactly correct. What we do have, though, thanks to the guys over at PokeStats, is this great graphic, which does have all of the top 16 decks just right here. So this is what we're going to be going by, mainly just because this is what's correct. So that's what we're going to go ahead and take a look at. So we'll start off at number 16. 16 through 8 should be totally fine. So we're going to refer to that graph, but yeah, that's going to be the plan for today. Let's start off at number 16. We have a Legendary. When he's playing Single Strike Urshifu, and Single Strike Urshifu was actually, with Umbreon, was actually the most played deck, and in my opinion is actually a top tier deck in the format right now. Just has a lot of really good matchups and a lot of great things that it can do against a lot of other cards in the format. So, of course, we're running a 4-4 of the Single Strike Houndoom lineup. This is going to be how we accelerate those Single Strike energies. An incredibly good card. Houndoom is just really reliable. This is a deck that is a little bit inconsistent because it does require that you get these Houndooms set up on your board. You want 2 or 3 of them out there at a time. And that's going to be a little bit difficult to do, right? But we have plenty of measures in place to make that a little bit more easy to happen, right? But we have a 4-4 Houndoom lineup. And we're running a 3-2 for Umbreon and Single Strike Urshifu. And these are kind of the bread and butter of the deck. Umbreon is actually used as an attacker in the deck. It's very good. If you're ever playing a Psychic-type matchup like Dragapult or Shadow Rider, for 3 energies, Umbreon VMAX is just going to get 1-hit KOs, right, on all those Psychic-type VMAX Pokemon. Does 160 for 3, but on top of that, with the Single Strike energies, that's going to boost it up, and that's before weakness, right? So definitely gets you in range. Also, if you get like 3 or 4 Single Strike energies on an Umbreon, we're doing 220, 240 damage, and that's actually quite a bit. You know, you're going to get a lot of KOs on just normal V Pokemon. But for other matchups, we do have Single Strike Urshifu, and that's going to be able to just, for 4 energies, does 270. Plus the Single Strike energies gets up to 330, 310 pretty easily. And that's going to be kind of what we're using to get big 1-hit KOs on other 3 prize VMAX Pokemon in the format. 1 Crobat as well for some draw support. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean it's a very good deck, right? It's a little bit straightforward, and I think most decks are in the format right now. You know, it doesn't rely on the Intelion engine, so one of the few decks that doesn't do that. Yeah, I mean it just has a good matchup spread, I think. A lot of 1-hit KO potential with this deck. Having Fighting type and Dark type in our format is quite good at the moment, so I think that it's pretty advantageous in that respect. And then we also have the ability on Umbreon, so that gives us a lot of consistent Gust on top of the 2 Boss's Orders that we have. 4 Marnie, 4 Research with 1 Crobat, kind of all the draw support you really need. 4 Quick Ball, right? 4 Urn of Vitality and 4 Evolution Incense. Lots of evolution Pokemon in the deck. I think we have a total of 8 evolution Pokemon, so makes sense that we're running some Evo Incense on top of that. 2 Switch cards and 1 Air Balloon. Those are going to be our switching outs. And we also have a Tool Scrapper and a Tool Jammer. Tool cards are super important right now. This format is heavily reliant on Tool cards and Stadium cards. We're not running any Stadium removal in this deck, but we are running 4 Stadiums, and that's going to be Tower of Darkness. We could discard a single strike card from our hand and draw 2. It's a really good consistency card here. I like Tower of Darkness a lot. So yeah, we're running 4 Stadiums, and we're running 2 tool removal cards. And that's just kind of needed in most decks right now in the format. Single Strike, no different. We're running 4 Capture Energies on top of 4 Single Strike. The Capture Energies are extremely good. You know, where you attach those and we get to put some Houndours or Umbreons down on our board. And that's gonna be kind of the other way that we consistently get Houndour out. Because like I said, we want to get these out as early as we can to get multiple Houndooms on our board. So the best way to do that, I think, is going to be able to attach those Capture Energies, since we do have colorless energy in Urshifu, Single Strike, and Umbreon's attack costs, right? So it just makes sense. Like, it's better to probably run these Capture Energies than it would be to run, like, more like level balls or great balls or things like that. All right, so capture energy just kind of makes a little bit more sense on top of 4 quick balls. The deck is extremely good. Like I said, it has a great matchup spread, lots of one-hit KO potential, and Umbreon is a great card. Single Strike is a great card. And what this deck kind of lacks a little bit in overall consistency compared to some other decks, it makes up for in its matchup spread, and it makes sense. I think this might have been the most played deck at the tournament. So big shout out to Legend Array. Congrats to you, my dude. Next up at 15, we have Augusto Berenjour, which is funny because this man ended up winning the GG Tour tournament, I think, just a few days after Chill Series. So definitely had a good week. And his list is literally like almost the exact same. He's only running 1 single strike Urshifu VMAX, which is interesting. But he has an Ordinary Rod thrown in there. Other than that, it's the exact same deck. And he's kind of going, again, because in this deck, you're really not focused a whole lot. You don't need multiple single strike Urshifus. You know what I mean? You really only like attack once, maybe twice with it. And we're going to take 3 prize cards, get a nice trade off, and then we have Umbreon as well to finish off the game. So it's interesting. I mean, if you prize the single strike Urshifu, then you're in a tough spot, but that's 1 out of 60 cards, you know? And it's probably pretty unlikely anyway. Just a little bit of a risk, but I think Ordinary Rod is actually kind of cool in the deck as well. I think that's a good card. I just don't know if it's necessarily like the best in this deck. I haven't played a whole lot of it, so I don't really know, if I'm being honest. And it looks like he actually is playing 1 less switch. He's playing a lot less switch. So what is he putting in? What does he have in here? I'm not sure. He might have put... I don't know. I don't know exactly like what he cut. I think he cut a switch, but I don't know what for. Maybe energy. I really don't know. But yeah, I mean, single strike Urshifu, kind of the same deal, a little bit different. They've had the same record, but Augusto is a great player. And like I said before, I'm not going to talk too much about single strike all over again, but it is a really great deck. Honestly, one of the best decks to be playing in this entire format. So big shout out to Augusto. Let me know what you guys think of single strike. I'm interested to know. We actually had quite a bit of Leafeon in top 16. We had 4 of them. And Robert Hines here at 14th was playing Leafeon, and people played Leafeon with the Intelion engine. Just makes the deck that much more consistent. And this is kind of what we're looking at. I actually like this one a lot, and I'm not super up to date on Leafeon archetype. I haven't seen too many like Leafeon lists recently, but this is running the Intelion engine, but it's running a 3/3 Leafeon. But it's running two Suicune V. And Suicune V is just one of the best 2 prize attackers in the game. So that kind of does make sense to be running Suicune in the deck. 2 capture energies and 3 water thrown in there. Only 4 grass energies, but we have greening cells, and that's going to help us find those grass energies, that ability on Leafeon V. So the deck overall is probably pretty consistent. I like the Raihan thrown in here and a Melanie. This deck is doing a lot of different stuff, right? So you're kind of sacrificing a little bit of consistency when you're playing kind of the water energies and the Suicune and Melanie. But, you know, overall, I actually really do like the idea behind it. I think it's a really cool combination. It probably has a lot of merit as well. Like, the matchup spread is probably kind of cool with it. You're kind of covering your Fire-type weakness on Leafeon, even though Fire-type isn't super popular, but people are still playing Victini at this point. So I like that. I think that's actually smart. I think that's a really clever list. Running Quick Shooting, Shady Dealings, Intelion, of course, Gather Mine to increase the damage with Grass Knot on Leafeon. All super good stuff. Only 1 Tool Jammer in terms of tool cards for the deck, but that's probably all you need. 2 Tool Scrappers, we got an Energy Search, Scoop Up Net, Palpad. Lots of 1-ofs in here, like Raihan, Phoebe, Melanie, and then all these cards. And again, all of this stuff is searchable with Shady Dealings, so you see that a lot of times with Shady Dealings decks. They can get away with running 1-ofs because they can kind of just search it when they want. But I really do like it. I like the list a lot. I think 1 Raihan is a really clutch card in almost any Shady Dealings deck because it's searchable, but when you need it and you can get it with Shady Dealings, it really is like a game-winning card. That extra energy attachment while being able to search for a card is absolutely incredible. It really is. This is really clever. I actually like this a lot. I think that this is super cool. Leafeon with Suicune. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but the dude got like 13th, 14th in the tournament, so probably deserves to have some respect. Big shout out to Robert Hines. Let me know what you think of this one. This one is super cool. Probably one of the coolest ones that we're going to be taking a look at today. I wonder if the other Leafeons are like that. Next up, though, we have Gavin Zhao from Canada, 13th. And he was playing Duraludon, so this was our only Duraludon in top 16. You don't see him a whole lot, not the super high play deck, but kind of Bronzong box, Zacian, Zamazenta is just a pretty decent archetype in its own right. Duraludon has a really good matchup spread, no weakness or resistance, and we're immune to special energy cards. So Duraludon can definitely win a lot of matchups in this format. It's just overall a little bit clunky of a deck, but again, with Bronzong and Cheryl, it's a deck that really can just dominate in if it draws well in some scenarios, and I really do like it. 3 Crystal Cave, we have a Tool Jammer, Air Balloon, and Big Charm, and this is going to be the Aurora Energy Metal Energy variant. I guess you could play it with like Umbreon or Houndoom and run like single strike energies, but I think that this is kind of the more consistent version of the deck. Crobat and Eldegoss thrown in here, which I do like. 2 boss for research for Marnie with the Crobat. Yeah, so it's interesting. It really is. He's running 2 different types of Bronzor. I believe that's probably just because he, like, why not? You know what I mean? I don't know if he only had, like, I don't know if he had 3 of one type. That might be the reason. Maybe he's doing it for the attacks. I honestly don't know. This thing does 30 for 2 energy, and that's something this one doesn't. So could come in clutch. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, it's Duraludon. And Duraludon VMAX, probably not like a super high tier, at least not right now. But this is kind of like the new Luke Metal in terms of resistance and you know, kind of taking hits, healing up, being immune to some stuff pretty much. So yeah, it's a really fun list. It really is. And I think any Zacian Zamazenta deck has the potential to win a lot. So keep that in mind. Duraludon VMAX, everybody. Definitely super, super interesting. I think we need to move this over. I don't know what happened with this, but yeah, that needs to get moved over. That should be good. We have the Aurora down here. I just want you guys to be able to see the decks. But yeah, man, Gavin. Shout out to Gavin, dude. Getting top 16 with Duraludon. I mean, not a lot of people played Duraludon, so it's just cool to see it making top 16 out of 400 players. Next up is Speedlemon. Speedlemon from the US, 10-4 as well. Another single strike Urshifu. Let's see if there's anything out of the ordinary with this one right here. Okay, so kind of the same stuff. Just taking a look at it. Okay, I think the only differences here, perhaps, is that we are running a single strike Scroll of Scorn. And this was a tool card that was very, very popular in single strike Urshifu when it first came out. It allows you to kind of take a hit and then deal big damage for that one revenge attack, that one energy revenge attack if you have single strike Scroll of Scorn attached. But now with Tool Scrapper and Tool Jammer, it's probably a little bit less reliable in the format, but still can be a very good option, and I really do like it. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the list is exactly the same, and you're not really going to see much difference between it, between any single strike deck, to be honest with you. Some people do focus entirely on Umbreon, and that ended up, I think, winning one week at Chill Series, or it won at least some tournament. So that's another way to kind of go about it. But, I mean, Duraludon is single strike, but you don't really play it like a single strike card. So I think overall, this is single strike Urshifu, and a lot of people play it. It's definitely kind of a figured out archetype, and at least for right now, when we get new single strike cards, maybe something will change. But yeah, Speedlemon, single strike Urshifu, very, very good deck right now in the format. An extremely, extremely good deck. Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. Sorry, Speedlemon, I didn't spend too much time on the deck, but we've already taken a look at single strike. So we're gonna move on to Petitu from Brazil, 11th, and this is Dragapult Intelion. We had 2 Dragapult Intelions in top 16. One of them made it far into the bracket, into the top 8. And I really like Dragapult. I really do. It's one of my favorite decks right now. I do think that it is a terrific deck in this format. I think that, you know, spread decks in general with quick shooting, it's a pretty consistent deck. Just requires 2 energy attachments. We have things like Tool Jammer and Path to the Peak. Suspicious Food Tin can get you out of range. I believe this is like a very Henry Brand-esque list of when it won the Late Night Series a little while back early on in the format. Might be what this list was kind of based off of, but then again, I think most decks are kind of based off that Henry Brand list. So, yeah, I mean, Dragapult Intelion, it's very, very good. Horror Energy, you know, quick shooting, Max Phantom, or whatever the attack's called. Very good. It's extremely good because spreading damage across Pokemon, taking multiple KOs in one turn, is kind of the most popular way to play the game at the moment, because it is extremely good. And Psychic is a good archetype. It has a lot of consistency, a lot of really good cards. We have Fog Crystal, Horror Energy, Suspicious Food Tin. We're weak to Dark, and that's kind of the main thing because Umbreon is such a good card. Psychic type decks, I think, are the best decks in the format. We have Dragapult and Shadow Rider, but Umbreon is so popular that kind of keeps the Psychic type decks in check. If there wasn't Umbreon, then Psychic would just dominate the format, so I think it's healthy in that respect. We got the Level Balls, Evolution Incense, Quick Ball. All stuff you would see in the Intelion engine. Level Ball, you can also grab Zigzagoon, which is super clutch with that one Scoop Up net. I like that. Escape Rope, super, super cool. Only one switch with one Escape Rope. That's it for switch cards. But with Dragapult, retreat cost is 1. In fact, like all of your Pokemon's retreat cost is 1. So like you don't really need a lot of switching outs. And with Dragapult, your attack cost is only 2. So you can kind of get away with retreating for 1. The thing is with Dragapult is you want to attach every turn. You can't really afford to miss attachments. This is a deck that technically would struggle with Crushing Hammers if it were to be relevant in the format at the moment, but it's not. But I don't think that's any reason to run Crushing Hammer. I'm just saying Dragapult, it's super good. It really is. 130 to the active and 50 to the bench. It doesn't seem like a lot. That's a 3-hit KO on the active, but the whole idea here is we hit the active a couple times, we spread 50 here and there, we have Quick Shooting, we have Zigzagoon, and then we have a Boss's Orders play late in the game, maybe with second Dragapult to take 2-3 KOs in one turn. And that's really the whole idea with Dragapult. It does it better than almost every other deck, and I really like it. I really do. So yeah, Dragapult and Intelion. Probably a lot of people's favorite deck in this format, if I'm being honest. But we're not gonna clown anybody for that. We're not gonna get on them. And Dragapult is a very cool deck. At number 10, we have Taiga from Japan. Always a lot of Japanese representatives high up on the standings because they're just incredible at the game. He was playing Leafeon and Intelion, and I don't know if this dude is going to be playing Suicune. Okay, so this is more of like a baseline standard Leafeon deck. Nothing wrong with that at all, but a little bit more based around the consistency. Intelion engine, we do have a Crobat thrown in there, but the bread and butter here is going to be the consistency with Leafeon. The 2 energy attack with greening cells, very consistent to get that Grass Knot attack off. We have 4 Galar Mine, 2 Tool Jammer to turn off air balloons, and it's just an extremely consistent deck. I like the 1 Phoebe, 1 Raihan as well. Energy Search, Palpad, lots of 1-ofs, like I said, because Shady Dealings engine. Overall, I think Leafeon might be one of the most consistent decks in our format right now. And consistency is king, right, in Pokemon. It's just kind of how it is. If your deck is performing how you want it to more often than other decks, then it just makes sense that it's going to be a good deck, and you're going to see a lot of them in top 16, like we're seeing with Leafeon, right? I mean, it didn't win the tournament, but it ended up being literally like with the most, I think, relevant deck in top 16. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, if you don't know, Grass Knot, it does 60 damage for each energy in your opponent's Pokemon's retreat cost. So Galar Mine increases that by 2. Most Pokemon have a retreat cost of 1 or 2, sometimes 3 or more. And that's going to be like 180, 240, 300 damage for 2 energies on Leafeon. An extremely consistent 2-hit KO attacker. Very good deck. It's just a very, very good card. Extremely good. So yeah, Leafeon without Suicune. The Suicune one was cool, but this one's a little bit more streamlined. And I think that's probably the way to go, but I think the Suicune one was really, really, really cool. At number 9, we have Evan Campbell, 94. I feel like we talk about him a lot. Obviously, very good player. He's in the standings high up all the time. This dude was playing Suicune Ludicolo. And the thing I want to mention here is as we get higher up in the bracket, or in the standings, we see that there are a lot of 2-prize attack archetypes up here, right? We have a couple Suicune and Intelions, and we have the Zacian Zamazenta. And those are, in my opinion, I think this is actually kind of what the meta is these hard-hitting 2-prize Pokemon. I think Cape of Toughness gives these decks a lot more viability. We 2-hit KO 3-prize Pokemon, they 2-hit KO us. It just makes a lot of sense. We win the prize race. Suicune Ludicolo is really cool because it does require a lot of single prize Pokemon. Lots of evolving going on here, but Suicune is our only attacker, and it is a very good attacker. For only 2 energy, similar to Ice Rider, we can kind of Melanie and attach and set this thing up in 1 turn to do some big damage. Does more damage for the more Pokemon that are on yours and your opponent's bench. At the most, this thing does 220 for 2 energy, plus with the Enthusiastic Dance from Ludicolo, which does increases your damage done by 100 when you evolve that Pokemon that turn, we get up to 320. And 320 is that sweet spot number. We're one-hit KOing 3 prize Pokemon. That's what Suicune Ludicolo is really all about. We can slowly build up, right, between Lotad, Lombre, Ludicolo. We really only have to use it once, right? We can get, we can 2-hit KO something with Suicune. And then on that third KO, that's when we have to hopefully have Ludicolo set up, and then we kind of get a nice 3 prize knockout there. For our second, our third attack, per se. That's kind of the way we do it, I guess. I'm not super familiar with the deck, but it seems to be that's how we play the deck. Shady Dealings engine, so we're, able to search out cards like Melanie, Raihan, Level Ball, Evolution Incense for Ludicolo, Rare Candy, things like that that are all extremely useful in the combo that is this deck. Yeah, I mean, it's good. We're running the top entry Lombre from, I think, Rebel Clash. This is really cool because if you draw it off the top deck, then you get to put it just straight on your bench. You don't actually have to evolve into it by, of course, playing Lotad and evolving into it. That's why we're running a 2-1-2 lineup, because we typically won't evolve Lombre, but it's there if we want to. We're going to go from Lotad to Ludicolo with Rare Candy, and then we're going to go straight Lombre into Ludicolo with top entry. So that's kind of the whole idea there. 2 Cape of Toughness is going to bring Suicune up to 260. 260 is not the best number in the world because, of course, a lot of things are still one-hit KOing you for 260, but I do think that, for the most part, you're out of range of getting one-hit KO'd by most decks, and I think that's kind of the big advantage here. Capture Energy, 6 Water, 2 Capacious Buckets, only 2 Research, 2 Marnie, because we're running the Shady Dealings engine, so you're really relying on kind of getting the Drizzile and Intelion Shady Dealings for more consistency. But with Melanie, we draw extra cards. Raihan, we search our deck for a card. So, you don't really need a lot of Marnie or Research in the deck. It's an extremely clever deck, but realistically, even though there's a lot of stuff to get done when you're playing Suicune Ludicolo, it consistently places well at tournaments. And for this reason, I do think that it is honestly one of the best decks in our format. And it's just really creative. It really is. It doesn't seem like a deck that would be really good, but it is actually a really, really good deck. You love to see it. You love to see it. Okay, so now we're going to get into top 8. So I'm going to refer to my little graphic here. Because, of course, don't pay any mind to what we see on the Limitless page. That's the one important thing here. So at number 8, we have Kaito Suzuki. So this is correct. Okay, so we'll take a look at his list. And this is actually another Leafeon deck, which is cool. Leafeon is super, super good. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Very, very similar, if not the exact same. To the... one moment. Okay, we're all good. Sorry. Very, very similar to the last one that we saw, if not the exact same. This is Leafeon. If you're looking to play Leafeon VMAX, I really suggest taking this exact 60 and maybe changing 1 or 2 cards here and there, depending on your preference. But overall, I think that this is the skeleton that you should be basing your list off of. There's a lot of cards here that you don't want to take out, like Galar Mine, and of course the Pokemon lineup is probably really important. Capture Energy. I think Energy Search, Escape Rope, Palpad, Fan of Waves, Ordinary Rod, like some of these one-ofs in the deck, like a Phoebe, maybe you don't need to run Phoebe, maybe you do. You do kind of get screwed over a bit by Zamazenta in that Zacian deck, but hey, we're kind of chilling. I think that's kind of the one bad matchup for Leafeon right now, other than a Fire-type deck, is probably Zacian and Zamazenta, but that's probably why we have Phoebe in here, so probably keep Phoebe. But overall, yeah, Leafeon. It's awesome. It really is. I don't know if it's the best. I don't know. This is probably the best of the Eevee Evolution cards that I guess is its own deck. Like, Umbreon is very successful, but it's kind of put in with Single Strike sometimes, not all the time. So I would say Leafeon is Umbreon and Leafeon are extremely good. Sylveon is also really good, although we didn't really see a lot of Sylveon in top 16 of this tournament. But hey, big shout out to Kaito Suzuki. Absolute champ. Okay, so next up we have the other Leafeon. That's Alan. Alan Catenio. Let's take a look at Alan's list. Where is he? Kinzo, I guess. Kinzo is his limitless name. He's from France, though. So super cool. You don't often see a lot of France players with time zones and things like that, but did very well in the tournament. Another Leafeon. This is the last one we'll take a look at. Okay, so this is a bit more of a consistent Leafeon list, built to be consistent. Less one-ups. We're actually not running the the Shady Dealings Intelion, right? We're running 4/4 and then just 3 quick shooting Intelion, which I do like, right? So we're kind of cutting the other Shady Dealings Intelions, and we are running a 3/3 Marnie Research for 3 boss, and that Phoebe is thrown in there. Like I said, very important. I think the Pal Pad is also pretty important as well because we are running Phoebe. 2 Tool Jammer, 4 Galar Mine, a 5/4 energy lineup instead of 4/4. Pretty cool. Again, this deck is to be a little bit more consistent, and I do like that. I kind of like this one the best. To be honest, it's simple, and I like simple decks because, you know, they just tend to kind of flow a little bit better in the long term. And for that reason, I don't know if that's why this deck did better than the other Leafeons. I'm sure the player was really good, but I like his list in particular. So maybe take a look at this one. This is probably the more baseline Leafeon list. So I know I said about the last one, but for this one, this is probably the one you probably want to take a look at and try to, you know, mold your deck off of. So very good. Shout out to Kinzo. Awesome, dude. Leafeon. Leafeon had one heck of a run in this tournament. Really cool to see. Next up is we have Yuta Sudo for 6th. And I believe, so he was playing Ice Rider. Limitless is a little bit messed up. And this is number 6 here. So Dubusu from Japan, yep. Was his Limitless name. And it shows up as Suicune Intelion. But that's because it is primarily playing Suicune, and we only see a 1/1 Ice Rider lineup. Right now, in this format, at least, I think if we're playing Ice Rider, the best thing to do is to really only use 1 Ice Rider VMAX throughout the game. It is extremely good. I think that decks right now that can utilize like 1 really good VMAX throughout the game and then force our opponent to go through 2 prize Pokemon, that's how we're going to kind of win. And I think that's the whole idea with this deck. We have multiple Suicunes to use. We're probably going to use 2 Suicunes, maybe 3 in some matchups. But yeah, we're going to go Ice Rider, Suicune, and force them to go through 3 Pokemon that are all going to be a little bit difficult to KO. Very similar to, you know, Suicune Ludicolo, except, you know, we're focused a bit more on the Intelion lineup, and we have the 1/1 Ice Rider. We have an Oranguru as well, which I think is super, super cool. So just kind of a consistency card in here. I don't think it really combos much with any of this, but overall, Oranguru is really good because it kind of Marnie-proofs your deck, right? If you get Oranguru on your bench, if you have an extra supporter in your hand that you're not playing, put that on the top of your deck, and then if you get Marnied, you have it for next turn. I think that's important. Is running Path to the Peak, though, and that's going to be turning off our Suicune. But again, we don't really run Suicune in the deck for the fleet-footed ability, but, you know, potentially, you know, is going to be really good in a lot of other matchups. It's a very good deck. I mean, but the thing here is I still kind of classify this as Ice Rider, even though there's only the 1/1 lineup. It's Ice Rider, but it's just a different way to play the same kind of archetype, which is like kind of Path to the Peak, Ice Rider, Melanie, you know, Intelion Engine deck. Before Suicune, Ice Rider was a lot different. It was still a really good deck, but I think right now, you know, running Ice Rider like this makes a little bit more sense. I think maybe you run a 2/2 Ice Rider, and you could get away with that in case you prize one of those 2 cards, because if you do, you're in a tough spot. But, I mean, this dude did extremely well in the tournament just playing a 1/1 Ice Rider lineup. So I guess that's just something to kind of keep in mind, right? You know, who knows? Not me. I don't know. Let's move that over just so you guys can just see the deck a bit more. I don't know why I don't do that. But yeah, I mean, it's Ice Rider, Tool Scrapper, Echoing Horn, 2 Cape of Toughnesses for the Suicune, Air Balloon, 2 Path to the Peaks. Lots of consistency cards in here. 3 Boss, 3 Marnie, 3 Melanie, 2 Research. We got the Level Ball, Evo Incense, Quick Ball, 2 Scoop Up Nuts as well to play around with these single prize Intelion Online Pokemon. Very, very good deck. It really is a really good deck. I think Ice Rider just isn't like the cool thing anymore. It used to be kind of like the cool deck, and now there's just so many other decks that people are choosing to play. You don't see a whole lot of Ice Rider, but it is still extremely good, and I think that's the important thing to keep in mind. All right, where's our little graphic here? Who do we got up next? It looks like we've got Antoine Perot, and he was playing single strike, yeah. So that's going to be this guy right here. I know it says he's 3rd, but we're following the Pokestats graphic because they got it correct. And now let's take a look at the highest placing single strike of the tournament. So, yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same, right, I think, as the other ones that we saw, or if not, very, very similar. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about single strike again. I don't want to talk your guys' ear off. We're already 30 minutes into the video. Right now, though, I do think that single strike Urshifu as an archetype is better than Rapid Strike Urshifu for right now. I think that single strike Urshifu, because it has Umbreon and we do have that one-hit KO potential, deals a lot better with those Psychic-type Pokemon in the format, things like Dragapult and things like Shadow Rider, whereas Rapid Strike Urshifu just can't really deal with that, right? I mean, you see sometimes Rapid Strike play with Moltres, but overall, I think that deck is a lot more clunky than Single Strike is with Umbreon, right? So Single Strike is better than Rapid Strike right now, I think, and I think that's mainly just because it has access to Umbreon. So yeah, I mean, that's how I'm feeling. That really is how I'm feeling. I know Umbreon's probably pretty expensive, but I think Single Strike is a really affordable card, if I'm being honest, and most cards in this deck are really affordable. So definitely get your hands on Umbreon. It'll be a good deck for a really long time. It really, really will. But big shout out to TWL956. Congrats, my dude. Congrats. Had a heck of a run. Single Strike is incredible. And you were the best, highest placing Single Strike of the tournament. Next up, though, we have Leandro Rios. And this was going to be the Dragapult Intelion player. And it says that he won the tournament, but of course he did not. So let's take a look at his list. The names are also a bit messed up on Limitless as well. That's why we're referring to the graphic. Don't pay it any mind. Okay. All right, now listen. This is Crushing Hammer Dragapult. Say what you will. Okay. I think Crushing Hammers is really good in some matchups, but overall, I just don't think it's super necessary. Probably helps a lot in the mirror match, though, with Dragapult, and Dragapult is a very popular deck. So that's something to keep in mind. It did do very well. So, we might be onto something here. I don't know if Hammers really fits in a lot of other decks in the format, but Hammers have always gone with Dragapult extremely well. Dragapult is kind of a slower paced deck, kind of likes to take its time, whittle down its opponent. Crushing Hammer kind of fits into that mold. The problem is those aren't really consistency cards, and we're kind of putting 4 cards that aren't very consistent into our deck. But, hey, this dude made top 4 with Dragapult with Hammers, so keep that in mind. Everything else about the deck, though, extremely similar. Kind of cut just cards like here and there. Cut a path to the peak. I think he cut like Quick Ball and, just kind of some things here or there for those Crushing Hammers. But listen, it worked out for him. Perhaps go and try to play Hammers and Dragapult. Let me know how it goes, to be honest. And maybe this becomes the norm. I don't know. But our highest placing Dragapult of the 400-player tournament this week was playing 4 Crushing Hammers. So, yeah, I don't know. Whatever you guys think about that, that is definitely interesting. Definitely very interesting. But yeah, here we go. I mean, I don't have much else to say about it, if I'm being honest. It's just here, and it's Dragapult, and there's Hammers in the deck. Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, so who was this dude? The name is incorrect. That was Leandro. Leonardo. Sorry, Leandro. Leonardo. Big shout out to Leonardo. Dude got 4th in the tournament. That is massive with Dragapult with Hammers. Super, super cool. At number 3rd, though, we have Cashfinder Man. So Cashman got 3rd out of 400 people, and he was playing Suicune, Ludicolo. We just took a look at one. Let's take a look at another one. Cash is a very good player. He plays pretty regularly. I think he always plays in Chill Series, or if he can, he'll play in Chill Series. Awesome to see him do so well this week, and he's a great player, so no surprise, honestly, but just super cool. Super, super cool. And this is, I think, very, very similar to the last Suicune Ludicolo deck that we saw. So again, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but I do want to let you guys know that these single prize archetype, or these 2 prize archetype decks should probably become meta at some point. As long as they remain good, I think that overall they're just super, super consistent. And I think that they win the prize race, and that's really all it is. Yeah. I have nothing else to say. Suicune Ludicolo. Big shout out to Cash, though. Massive shout out. I don't know if he's ever played this deck before. Maybe he has. I'm just kind of saying that. Maybe he plays it all the time. I have no idea. But very cool to see him doing well with Suicune Ludicolo. Definitely one of the cooler decks in the format. So I just kind of love to see that. Big shout out to Cash. Congrats, my dude. Congrats. Okay, so next up, these are the last 2 decks of the tournament. So in the finals, we did have Keigo Sato playing Zacian Zamazenta, and he was playing against Michaela Gassert. And she was playing Jolteon. Intelion. Super, super cool. We weren't able to get the finals match this week, unfortunately, so I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to watch that. I did make a video on the deck that won, Zacian Zamazenta, and that is honestly the best budget deck in the game right now and one of the best decks in the format. Definitely go watch that video. But let's take a look at Michaela's Jolteon deck. I think that sounds super, super cool. Super, super cool. The only Jolteon in top 16 just happens to make finals. Very, very impressive for Michaela. Yeah, you'll see an Intelion engine yet again. The deck is actually extremely similar to Dragapult. Like it's literally like it's like electric type Dragapult in a way. It's a spread deck. It's a Pokemon that attacks for 2 energies. It runs Intelion engine. It's just a very, very similar build overall. We have Path to the Peak thrown in here. Very similar to Dragapult, just does it a little bit differently. Does 100 to the active and then 100 to any bench Pokemon that has damage counters onto it already. So does overall more damage than Dragapult. Does it kind of like a faster pace, kind of more high risk, high reward in a sense. This is a deck that struggles very heavily with Rapid Strike Urshifu, but now that Rapid Strike Urshifu isn't like a super popular deck in the format, Jolteon has a lot more room to kind of to do things, right? I think the one Cheryl in the deck is super clutch. We have Elemental Badge. That's going to drop the attack cost for the Jolteon VMAX down to just 1 Psychic Energy. And being a Psychic-type Pokemon, we have access to Speed Energy, which is a very, very good consistency card. Just an energy, and when we play it, we draw 2 cards. Super, super good. Shady Dealings, all that good stuff. Zigzagoon, Scoop Up Net, Level Ball. I like Escape Rope in the deck a whole lot, actually. Ordinary Rod, Energy Search. It's got everything you could ever want. Jolteon is a very consistent deck. But again, it's kind of fast-paced, high-risk, high-reward. Probably one of the more, I guess, I wouldn't say difficult decks to play, but you definitely have to play it correctly or else you're going to get punished. So that kind of goes into the high-risk, high-reward part of what I was saying. But yes, Michaela with Jolteon. Super cool to see. I'm really happy Jolteon did make finals. I wish we had the grand finals match. I really do. But unfortunately, sometimes we're just not able to record it, and that's just how it goes. But really, big congrats to Michaela. It's really awesome to see. I really love to see Jolteon. The only Jolteon in top 16, and she made finals. Super, super cool. So big congrats to her. Love to see it. Awesome, man. Awesome. Just super good stuff. Okay, so next up, and this is the winner of the tournament. Is going to be, he's actually down here, but he actually won. It's Kygo, 080522, and he was playing Zacian Zamazenta. So the finals was Zacian Zamazenta against Jolteon. Probably not something a lot of people expected, but listen, this is a budget deck, and it's honestly one of the best decks in the format. I'm not going to go super into detail on it. That's because I made a whole separate video talking about this deck. So if you're interested, go watch that video. We explain it. We play some games with it. So, I'm not going to spend too much time. But Kygo playing Zacian Zamazenta. It's got all the good stuff that you could possibly want. Zacian, one of the best 2-prize attackers in the game. Zamazenta auto-wins some matchups. Oranguru Rotomphone as the engine goes very well with Intrepid Sword Zacian. Cape of Toughness, Crystal Cave makes these 2-prize Pokemon actually really bulky. 12 basic energies, 4 Metal Saucer, very consistent in terms of energy acceleration. 4 Boss, 4 Research, 3 Marnie, and then we got the Raihan thrown in here as well. So all really good stuff. Double Tool Scrapper, very, very good in the mirror match as well, so keep an eye out for Tool Scrapper if you're playing Zacian Zamazenta. I think 2 is the correct play. 2 Air Balloon, 4 Switch, lots of switching outs as well because we are a Zacian deck. Yeah, guys. This is what won. 403 players all came out of this guy right here playing Zacian Zamazenta. Also the only one in top 16. Just happened to win the tournament and make it to finals and win it. So there you go. There you go. Top 16 decks, Chill Series number 48. Don't forget to register for Chill Series 49, which is coming up this Wednesday in just a couple days. Link to register for the tournament will be down in the description below. I've been Matty from Chill TCG. Thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize. I've been super, super busy in my normal real life stuff the last couple weeks, so I haven't been able to post a whole lot. I do apologize for that. There's a lot of things in the works right now. I'm figuring out a whole lot of stuff with PTCG Live coming out, changing sponsors, all that good stuff. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for everything that's, all the updates that are going to be coming. But don't forget to play in this week's tournament. I can't wait. It's going to be even more fun. Gonna be a really good time. Thanks guys for watching. Have a great day. Stay tuned. More videos will be coming in the future. Lots of news will be coming, so just kind of stay tuned for that. But congrats to everybody who made top 16. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. And yeah, have a good day.